Hi there, I hope you're good. I want to talk about healing and integrating the groove girl and the good girl to heal the inner disharmony and to live authentically embodied as a woman. So, what is the good girl? The good girl is the woman who does everything that she's told to do. She becomes who other people have told her to be. And in her shadow then generates the groove girl, who is everything she was discouraged from being and becoming. And the point of being good is so that a man can choose you for marriage. That's the ultimate prize for the good girl. The irony is the groove girl also has the same intention in mind. It is the validation of men and obtaining resources from men in order to build her life from the man choosing her. So both these women are essentially trying to get about the same thing in different ways. One in a conventional way, one in an unconventional way. And both these methods do work by and large. The groove girl does get a man's resources. The good girl does get a man's resources through marriage and the status that comes with that. And the groove girl also has her own status that comes with associating with a certain kind of man in a certain kind of context for a certain kind of result. But what this does to the woman, whether you are the good girl or the groove girl, is that it disintegrates you. You're not showing up authentically as yourself because you're not whole. You're existing with other people, particularly a man, as the center of your existence and not yourself. So in every groove girl is a good girl shadow. In every good girl is a groove girl shadow. The point is to integrate and become whole so that there's no disharmony between you. So as a good girl, when you're judging the groove girl for being herself, it's because you are afraid of embodying those aspects of yourself. You're afraid of allowing yourself to explore your forbidden desires in life, the desires that you were taught will get you punished or will get you harmed or will lead to you being unaccepted. That's what you're afraid of. The groove girl is not afraid of that. And those aspects of yourself, the fearless, the not afraid to be disappointing, the adventurous, those parts of yourself are valuable parts of yourself that you don't need to shame and be afraid of or be ashamed of. And the good parts of yourself, the self-respecting parts, are the parts that you commodify in order to obtain mostly marriage from men and applause from society. But that applause comes at your soul's expense. There are whole parts of you that don't really exist, and a lot of people don't even know who you are because you don't know who you are. You don't allow yourself to live. You only live as the parts of you that other people clap for. The parts that are condemned, that are shunned, that are shamed, you condemn and shun and shame, and you never truly integrate them. Whereas as the groove girl, you are going out into the world to try and obtain the resources of men and status and power from men using your body and your sexual energy. That's really what we can distill it to. There's probably a much prettier way of decorating this, but really that's what you're doing. You're going out into spaces, clubs, bars, pubs to look a certain way, to sell a certain image in order to obtain favor, privilege, power, status from men, and ultimately resources. So hoping that these men will maintain your lifestyle and that you can then maintain yourself from what you obtain from those men. But that's not usually the reality that happens. Now, the groove girl's lifespan is very short-lived. It's limited to your youth. But so is the good girl's. There comes a time as a woman where when that's all that you're cultivating of yourself, you do not expire, but you really, you become irrelevant. I'm not going to use the word expire because that's a harsh term to use for a human being. But in essence, there's no use for you in the spaces where you were trying to commodify yourself for value and for relevance. When you integrate these aspects of yourself, when you integrate the groove girl as the good girl and the good girl as the groove girl, you become whole as a woman. You authentically embody yourself as a woman. You allow different aspects of you to live as you within your own body, within your own being. So who you are is determined by your needs and your desires, not who other people want you to be. So, if you have a strong desire to start a business and to generate resources, you can use your brains and you can use your sensuality by embodying authentically. You can understand what makes people tick and you can understand how to package that in a way that sells. If you want to be a well-kept woman, you can have that in a way that doesn't sell your dignity as its cost, but where you keep your dignity and your self-respect. Now, as we continue with this series, I'll talk more in depth about how to go about integrating these aspects of yourself, because it can be very intimidating at first. For a lot of good girls, they want to completely dissociate with the groove girl within by shunning it outside of themselves. And as the groove girl, you are very much ashamed of the good girl within, because that's not who you are wanting to be seen as out here in the streets. But really, this inner disharmony doesn't serve you as a woman. Especially as time goes on, you want to be whole. You want to live a life that is a true expression of yourself as a whole being, not just the parts of you that you can commodify for value in patriarchy and in society.